Caw. What was that? Once upon a time, I thought I was a good biology teacher, and then came assessments. And everything was about assessments. And I got sick and tired of assessments. That was not where I wanted my students to know everything. I wanted them to have fun with science. So that's where EcoMeet comes into play. What is EcoMeet? It's a competition. It's this great fight. Kind of a big duel, but a little more nerdy than normal. Not a strength kind of competition, but more of the brain sort. Because it's kind of fun to know what you're thinking and how it's all going to come together. Four parts of this test, and I think you're going to love them all. Two of the competitions are for groups, and you get to hang with your entire team, but two of them require your individual thoughts, and we put you all together for a team score. It's all outside, and you get dirty and all the good stuff. One of the components is the invertebrate table test. As you can see, you need to know a little bit of stuff about critters, including their organization levels, like order, family, species, what do they look like, things like that, for the invertebrate table test. Some examples. And yes, Kansas does have shrimp. Then we move on to the scavenger hunt, which is sort of like the invertebrate table test, except you're outside, and now we're talking about grasses, trees, and wildflowers. So you have basically 30 minutes to attain as many types of plants as you can, and then you take them to the judge, and your team has to tell the judge what you have. The wetlands table test, very similar. I think you're noticing a theme here, except now we're talking about everything associated with Kansas wetlands, including problems with those wetlands. So you'll need to bring your overall application skills into play for the wetlands table test, because we talk about things like erosion, water pollution, what's going on with our drinking water, how are we handling chemicals, all kinds of great big concepts from biology. Then we move on to something that's a little more difficult for me, as you can imagine, because not only is this skit there for entertainment purposes, but it's also there to educate about whoever your, quote, character happens to be. So if you are a big American crow, then you're going to have to tell us what you eat, how you like to eat, where do you nest, but it's not very fun if you just tell us, I like this, and I do this, and I like this, and etc., etc. You have to entertain. Pretend we're all kindergartners and make us have a good time. So while you're up there acting, I would remind you that you're going to have an audience. Your audience is typically some judges and other teams that are competing against you. Your names are sort of drawn out of a hat, so you have to be prepared to go first in the presentation room, just in case you happen to draw first. Hopefully you draw second or third, but it's all right to go first too. As you can see, props, knowing your lines, having group things, all of that has to be done ahead of time, because you can't have your script and you only have 5 minutes to give your skit, and so everything has to be fit into a very short period of time. But each of the four of you are actually worth about 25 points toward your total group score. So a team then. In order to have a team, you have to understand the team mentality. So I always encourage my students to pick group members that you like well enough to study with. Pick people that you like to hang outside with, that you can listen to their coaching and they'll listen to yours. It's really, really, really important. Now the next question is, how do I get to state? How do I win some moolah? So when we're talking about teams, I think it's important that you think about who you want to be representing you together as a team. Normally, I tell you to pick at least one person that can act, because they can help everybody else figure that out. I suggest you find one person that's been outside a lot. People who like to hunt, fish, trap, cut firewood, anything that gets you outside and gets you experience with critters, plants, etc. is going to help you out for this competition and make you a stronger team member. I encourage you to have one member that's had some sort of ag experience, because ag competitions are really, really helpful. They're very similar to what we're going to do in here. And one member that's really just book smart with critters, that they can use those field guides and become familiar with the different styles of field guides so that they can help you maneuver between them during those competitions when I don't get to be nearby. If you pick a good team and things go well, there are some awards. You'll notice that if you place in the top 2 for the table test, either one, you automatically get to go to the state competition in November. If your whole team places in the top 3 teams, then you too will get to go through to the state competition in November. So we want to be top 2 individuals and top team. The cool thing is we get to do a little bit of travel. We will miss one day of school in October to go to the Greenbush Conference Center for the regional competition. If you do well at the regional competition there in Greenbush, then you can actually qualify to go to state. And that's going to be at Salina's Wildlife and Waterfowl area, and that's in November. A lot more driving, but a lot more to see. When we're talking about awards and travel and what exactly is going to happen, normally you have to have no money for food because they feed us extremely well, extremely exotic foods for the most part. You have to cover no traveling expenses whatsoever, but there are some great scholarships that you can win. This is kind of a win-win. The scholarships that you can earn are anywhere from $50 to $2,500, depending on how well you do. And there's even some great scholarships where we have full rides on the line from Fort Hays State University, or many of the wildlife and parks have great internships where they actually will invite you to come and stay at their park for a while and see how it goes. This is the key slide. There are a lot of great dates you have to remember this semester. October 23rd, regional competition. November 7th, state competition. So for that November 7th one, you may have to actually ask off of work for the 6th and the 7th. So I have a comment, And that is that if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. That's why I decided that I wasn't going to be an assessment type of biology teacher. I wanted to be the get outside and get dirty type of biology teacher. And that's why I've told my students for a number of years now, you have to plan for success. Plan to devote ample time to the mechanics of this competition, and your team will kick a little tushy. I don't take teams who fail to prepare. So really, really take care of business. You'll have a great time. If you're still interested in going in this competition with me, I would love to take you. In fact, my husband and I both will take you to these two competitions. The website that I would first lead you to is this website here with the Kansas EcoMeet.org. It is a great website to go and check out everything. They've got field guides on there. They've got samples of skits and anything that you could use. Also, don't forget, here is my email address and my husband's email address. If you are at home and you're thinking about maybe I would maybe like to do this, please drop me an email. If you're at school, swing by. I love highly competitive teams, and I'll do everything I can to help make you as strong as possible. I have a blast doing these things, of course. The next thing I would tell you is that there are field guides. Both my classroom and Mr. Ford's classroom, any science classroom that you come into contact with, has field guides on the counter somewhere. Find a field guide, check it out for the day, go see if you like those critters. If you decide to join a team, you're going to need to know those. It's going to be great. So I guess when I started with the bird call at the beginning, it was kind of a sad one, but caw-caw, caw-caw. I want you to know what bird that comes from. So start with these resources. This, I think, is a great way to build new memories from high school with friends. How about making new friends? You'll find absolutely everything you will need in this competition. Good luck!